Abbiamo qui con noi Xavier Le Roy, artista, coreografo sarebbe dire meno di quello che è, is artist, choreographer but more than choreographer. Ieri l'abbiamo incontrato dopo il Sacre, parlando soprattutto del Sacre, ma oggi possiamo parlare del suo lavoro come artista e porgli delle domande in generale. So today we can speak and ask about all his production, all his artistry. So the last year we had Self-Unfinished and now Sacre, but it's very important for him the reflection about, if you look at the titles, Self-Unfinished, product of the circumstances. So it's like investigating in his own biography, some way or not. I titoli dei suoi lavori farebbero pensare che lui indaghi nella sua stessa biografia di artista e di creatore.
Sì, sure.
Sì.
I was not thinking it. I was hearing it more as a
and product of circumstances.
as a comment.
Sì. It seems that you are investigating in your own path, in your own biography. You come from science.
Well, doing work solo, like the work you hear me? Yes. The work you refer to are solo works, and I think this figure or this form, when one decides to work with it, and especially when you decide also to perform yourself the work, it has to do with something from yourself. It's for me a form that put this at work, even if you might have another subject than yourself. The fact that you are working with yourself and perform it yourself make it obviously always about something about you.
Ho nominato dei lavori che sono dei soli e il fatto di interpretarli, di performarli ha a che fare con lui stesso, con te stesso, lavora su se stesso, il che però può avere a che fare con chiunque altro, anche con me, dice. Self-Unfinished was performed, in fact, by another performer, and also the Sacre by 3 performers. So you can share your experience and what do you give to them and what you receive. Self-Unfinished qui l'anno scorso è stato interpretato non da lui, da un altro danzatore, il Sacre da 3 persone, perciò gli ho chiesto che cosa lui dà e che cosa riceve.
Yeah, that has been an interesting experience to do last year. Ask João Martins to perform Self-Unfinished, and this year to rework this piece with 3 performers. This piece, which is called the Sacre du Printemps, the Rite of Springs, that was made first by myself. It's also for me interesting to observe that it comes out of an accident, and the fact that I was not able to perform this piece, and the fact that Marie Chouinard insisted, for good reasons, I think, to push me to look for a way of how these pieces could be performed by other people. But it makes it also the subject of the work, or another subject of the work, which is how to interpret or reinterpret these works. And I think for Le Sacre that we showed yesterday, it is also the possibility to observe that the use of this music, which is historically very loaded and has been interpreted literally in many different ways by many different orchestras, but also by many different choreographers, that we try to connect us to this question of the meaning of the possibility that interpreting something or reinterpreting something is being interested in the possibility of transforming the work. Or that would be my primary interest. So if to answer your question, yes, I can share this experience that I have made with this work, but they also become something else that I don't know what I didn't know before, which is then not anymore about myself somehow, but about the fact that someone else will use it to do something. And that's a question that was very... Maybe I stop here because you have to translate. I have more to say. But.
L'anno scorso fare questa esperienza di trasmissione del lavoro a Joao, perché lui non ha potuto rifarlo lui stesso, è stato molto interessante per vedere che cosa accadeva in questo caso. E il fatto che non ha potuto farlo, mentre Marie Chouinard ha insistito molto per trovare un modo per poterlo far fare, ha creato la possibilità di reinterpretare questo lavoro. E per il Sacre ha avuto la possibilità di osservare come usare questa musica che è così carica di storia, così carica di diverse orchestre, di diverse coreografie, come connettersi con la questione della possibilità di reinterpretare. Una reinterpretazione che è una trasformazione, può condividere, ma il lavoro diventa qualcosa d'altro, qualcosa che prima non sapeva e che non riguarda più solo lui.
Yeah, maybe to continue with this, that's also something that I understood yesterday by seeing the work and also talking about it afterwards, that the choice that I had made to use this music and use this situation of a conductor conducting an orchestra, transforming or proposing to observe this movement as being a choreography, but also working on the figure of the conductor as a representative of power, of control, of literally giving direction. That the fact that we revisited this position, the meaning of or the understanding of this power figure has been reworked, and yesterday I somehow understood how much actually this work was also for me a very tense question about how to play power, how to power is something that is part of our word. There are a certain way of using it that I totally disagree with, but it is, as a matter of fact, part of how we behave between human being, and yeah, this ending of the piece that was trying to transform the place of power as a game where it is about trying to make the space for the other, literally for another power, was something that was not at all present in the first version, where this question is more put in relationship with the fact that I use movements that are normally made to conduct the music, so to influence. But as long as you perform this movement in front of a recording, the recording will not be transformed. So it is more about the relationship of the power of the human in relationship with the machine, or how the machine conducts the human, and how the public was literally sitting on this machine as actually a power. So the question of power has not the same narrative and the same understanding, I would say, in the two works.
Si riferisce al fatto che la versione del Sacre come solo era del 2007, e quindi sta facendo riferimento a quella prima versione. Continuando il discorso di prima, dice che c'è qualcosa di cui si è reso conto ieri, vedendo il lavoro e anche nella conversazione, che la scelta di usare questa musica e la situazione del dirigere un'orchestra, del fare dei movimenti, puntualizza la figura del direttore, il quale ha il potere, ha il controllo, e il fatto che abbiamo rivisitato, rielaborato questa figura di potere gli ha fatto comprendere come al fondo di questo lavoro c'è una domanda grande, una domanda piena di tensione su che cos'è gestire il potere, che è parte della nostra vita, ma ci sono modi di usarlo su cui magari non siamo d'accordo. In ogni caso è un comportamento corrente dell'essere umano, e alla fine quando le tre ragazze sono tutte e tre in scena, il lavoro compiuto perché una lasci spazio all'altra, perché si lasciano spazio, ovviamente non c'era nella prima versione a solo, usa i movimenti che normalmente si fanno per dirigere, ma di fronte a una registrazione che è quella che è fatta, non si può trasformare. È come se la macchina del suono conducesse e il pubblico fosse seduto su questa macchina, e quindi la questione del potere cambia aspetto in questa nuova configurazione. I have another question about the work he made for a dancer, directly for a dancer, Esther Solomon, Giselle. What's the difference creating on someone else, a commission, and creating on yourself or for your dancers? Lui ha fatto un lavoro su commissione che gli è stato richiesto da una danzatrice, Esther Solomon, che si chiama Giselle SZ, e gli ho chiesto com'è lavorare direttamente, creare direttamente per un'altra persona, mentre adesso abbiamo parlato di qualcosa che aveva creato per sé e poi trasmesso.
Maybe to follow the same thread as what I was saying about the figure of the solo, when you decide to make a work that you will also perform yourself, it's going to be about yourself, even if you want to talk about something else. I think in this, in the work Giselle, which was literally a commission, the work becomes very much about how this commission has been made. So it was part of a program which is called Le Vif du Sujet. I don't know how to translate this in.
Il soggetto in vivo, il soggetto dal vivo.
Which is a program that takes place in Festival d'Avignon, and this program at this time was proposing to performers, interprets, to invite choreographers to make a work for them. So the idea behind is to reverse the order of usually in the most common and normative way of working. A choreographer will ask a performer to work with her or with him, and here it was reversed in the. So with this proposal, we had made she asked me, and I say yes, I would make a work, but immediately it comes with me with question of how you do this, what is implicit in this invitation that a person work with another person, who is somehow proposing her or his service to another. This is so that was very important to start to work with making this literally a question or again a subject of the work. So and I think this is something that I always try to be attentive with, that the way a work come about, or a way a work is processed or start or is developed, takes from the very beginning with it a subject that is the very fact of that you make this decision to make the work, and that has made us look for a way. I proposed to her to start the first day with a run-through, so that we will decide to do things and we will rehearse by doing only run-throughs. So this decision implied also that if we want to run through, we need to know what will be put, which made us choose things that already exist. So not that we had to make material, decide the material, and then run through putting it together, but the material should somehow pre-exist. And that has been also a way of thinking of this relationship, which is very often like you use what the person can do. So you use this abilities or these personalities or this. So by doing this, we were also working on the very question that you asked me: how is it to work to do a solo for someone else?
Di solito quando si fa un solo, anche se non vorresti, finisce che riguarda te, ma vorrebbe ricordare com'è nato questo lavoro per Esther Solomon, ed era parte di una serie che si chiama Le Vif du Sujet, il vivo del tema, dell'argomento, del soggetto, insomma una traduzione italiana un po' così, che si svolge ad Avignone, dove si chiedeva ai danzatori, ai performance, di scegliersi, di invitare un coreografo per la creazione, e questo rovescia l'ordine corrente dei fattori, per cui di solito è il coreografo che chiede all'interprete di prendere parte a un lavoro. Ha detto di sì e subito si è interrogato su cosa fare, come fare e che cosa c'era di implicito in questa richiesta, in questo concetto di commissione. E a lui dà sempre molta importanza al tema, all'argomento, è sempre attento. E, bisogna capire come nasce, come si sviluppa questo tema e prendere delle decisioni, cercare il modo. E ha deciso di cominciare il pezzo buttando dentro delle cose, attraversando cose, non creando il materiale ma partendo da materiali esistenti. spesso si usano le abilità della persona che inviti a lavorare con te. In questo caso è stato un run through, un correre attraverso tante cose. È interessante sapere che, se ho capito bene, nella seconda parte del lavoro lui ha usato ciò che aveva scartato rispetto a questi materiali. So you used the second part of the piece, discarded material. And material, I don't know, things people know.
Yeah. So the process of this piece made at the end a work which was 30 minutes long. And when I remember the festival in Berlin wanted to invite this work, and when we were rehearsing at the moment where they were inviting us to present the work, we would do these run-throughs as a way to develop the work, and the run-through were somehow like 70 minutes, 60 minutes. So we had said, because they have said like how long it would be, you think it will be a full evening, and we said, yeah, it's going to be a full evening. But at the end of the process, what's left in the form of the piece that we decided to make was 30 minutes. So there was two ways of dealing with the fact that there is a program of an evening, a full-length evening work, which in our culture and our understanding of this and the understanding of this festival, obviously an evening is at least 50 or 60 minutes. Then it can be 2 hours, but then it's long, but that would be this. But if you would show a work which is 30 minutes and say this is an evening long program, that would, why not? But you also know that you are somehow playing with the norms in a certain way. So as I always try to think about what this thing can actually produce. Of course, you could provoke and say, well, I don't care, that's the work, it's 30 minutes. But I thought it would be interesting to say, why is it now 30 minutes, but we had announced it 60 minutes. So that's how the idea of showing all the things that we had thrown away from the piece as something that could be valid, not for the piece we do, but is in a way something we have made, we had produced. So we put this all together to make this second part, which is also called. It has several titles: the B-side of Giselle, the garbage, all the things we didn't use, or there is I don't remember. There's like a series of 10 titles saying, the garbage of Giselle.
Allora dice, quando hanno lavorato nel processo di lavoro, alla fine hanno sistemato il pezzo, durava 30 minuti, ma c'è stato un festival a Berlino che voleva invitarli con questo lavoro, e ovviamente ci si aspetta in questi casi, è consuetudine, che una serata intera duri almeno un'oretta, poi possono essere 2, 2 e mezzo. Ma allora che cosa fare per questo problema? Provocare e andare contro le abitudini, oppure no, o trovare un'altra soluzione, visto che erano annunciati 60 minuti. Allora abbiamo ripreso in mano gli scarti, cioè quello che avevamo prodotto e avevamo messo via, che era la spazzatura del pezzo, e l'abbiamo rimesso insieme. E questo, lui dice, è il lato B di Giselle. Sacre, Giselle, why this so strong titles? Even if Giselle is written. Perché questi titoli così potenti nella storia della danza, il sacro, Giselle?
Well, for Giselle, there is so Giselle has been made in 2001, and there are several reasons for this. So one reason was we were doing this work by using existing material, recycling different kind of movements, different of dance, of sport movement, of movement coming from advertisement, popular culture, folkloric culture. Like it was editing many of these things together, and all things that you could, as a spectator from the Western culture, recognize. So movements that would make you maybe look at her saying, ah, this is Michael Jackson. I mean, she's not Michael Jackson, but you would recognize the movement as something that has this name attached to it, or someone playing soccer, or someone fighting, or like, different kind of identities that you would have. So the decision of using Giselle was that we were looking for a title which would already exist, and which would indicate that what we do is a dance piece. The Swan Lake could have been also a possibility. So you would have in our culture many titles. Giselle was also very interesting to use because it's the name of a person, and the person is dancing. And so her name is Estelle, is written S-Z as a S, coming from a Hungarian language. So we introduced the Z in the as to say it's her as Giselle, or it's. So that was one of the reason to use to look for this to use Giselle as a title. So literally referring to a ballet. The consequence of this are also multiple, because Giselle is a title of a romantic ballet, and the structure of this ballet, like many romantic ballet, is you have the first part, which is in Giselle the life, and then the second part is the
food.
So this is also something we use within the work. As we say, it's actually the second part of Giselle. So in the world of the death, where everything is possible, we don't know. So that's for Giselle. But there is another. At this time, it was also important for me to give a title that also say this is dance. As I had on my forehead a sticker put by people that I do non-dance, or that there was this like all this terminology of as if I would be involved in this movement of doing work that is against dance, that doesn't want to move, or which is a total misunderstanding from I think. To build up this category, which so there was also a need to say like, no, this piece like the person moves like a lot, like also in the Rite of Spring it's a lot of movement, in Self and Venice is also a lot of movement, and it is all in relationship to that. So that was also that's for Giselle, and Le Sacre du Printemps is another story.
So questo Giselle è del 2001 e ricicla, è un riciclaggio di materiali dallo sport, dalla danza, dalla cultura pop, dal folklore, dalla pubblicità, rieditato. E materiali che chiunque nella cultura occidentale in cui siamo immersi riconosce, ad esempio, non so, la camminata di Michael Jackson, anche se la fa un'altra persona. E cercavano un titolo anche esso esistente, come il materiale esistente su cui hanno lavorato, e un titolo che indicasse che si trattava di un pezzo di danza. Avrebbe potuto essere anche Il Lago dei Cigni, abbiamo tanti titoli, ma Giselle si è prestato a inserire questo SZ che c'è nel nome di Esther Salomon, che è di origine ungherese, e però riferendosi a un balletto, il che ha multiple conseguenze. Sappiamo che Giselle nella fattispecie è un balletto romantico che ha una struttura in due parti, la prima che è il villaggio di giorno, l'innamoramento, la seconda che è quella tragica di notte nel bosco. Tutto è possibile nella danza. Volevamo anche mettere un titolo che dicesse questa è una danza, perché in quel momento, nel 2001, una corrente di interpretazione di certi spettacoli che sosteneva che si trattava di una non danza, di un'antidanza, quella che io in italiano chiamo la sdanza, e lui voleva collocarsi fuori da questa categoria perché c'è molto movimento, l'interprete si muove, danza così come danzano le ragazze che abbiamo visto, che anche stasera sono in programma del Sacre. So you are not involved in doing sacrilege about the classical pieces. Sacre, not sacrilege. Gli ho chiesto se il sacro mi ha fatto venire in mente la parola sacrilegio, Giselle, sacrilega. No, forse no, non ha intenzione di fare azioni sacrileghe.
No, but I don't know exactly what sacrilege is like when you...
Is when you want disturb, you want break something, you want
sacrilege
not
in this,
respect. Is in a religious...
Yeah, no, that's not my motivation. But I stand on a heritage and on a culture like many others, and it is a way to recognize this and see how this heritage, how this history is operating on me, and how we can we have to deal with. We have to use it somehow. But maybe I can say that for Le Sac du Printemps, there is another story to this title and the decision of making that work, which when I did it the first time, the first version in 2007, if you would have asked me 2 years before, when are you going to do a Sac du Printemps, or are you interested, I would have said not at all. I'm not. I mean, that's not. So this work is come out of the desire to make a work that uses the situation of orchestra conducted by a conductor, and it happened that I have been triggered by this situation while I was watching a rehearsal of or like the movie, the documentary of the rehearsal of this music performed by the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra, and when I had decided to work on this situation, thinking about the movement of the conductor as a possible choreography of the music actually that he or she is conducting, I had imagined to not use Le Sac du Printemps in order that it doesn't become a version of Le Sac du Printemps. But the attempt didn't really function, or there was something in this music that was linked to the fact that I came to the idea of and the desire and the necessity to work on this situation because of this music and not because of another one. So then I submitted somewhat in a way to this initial encounter, and it became Le Sac du Printemps, which I also tried to resist in giving the title. At first I thought I can call it the concert, I can call it everything else, but not Le Sacre. But all the title I was giving was title that sounds like they should not be named the Sacre du Printemps. So it was a no title, which I said like, okay, so I also submit to this. Yeah, it is this music. It is a way of using this music. So it is about this. This piece.
Non ha nessuna intenzione sacrilega, non è nella sua motivazione, ma come tutti noi si trova di fronte a un'eredità ed è un modo per riconoscere questo fatto e vedere come opera in noi, in lui, in noi. Dobbiamo venire a patti con questa eredità. Circa il sacro c'è anche un'altra storia. Un paio d'anni fa non avrebbe mai pensato di rifarlo. Ma quando è nato c'era proprio il desiderio di usare questo elemento orchestra, l'elemento direttore, guardando alle prove dei Berliner Philharmoniker. Quando ha deciso di occuparsi di questo gesto della direzione d'orchestra, aveva pensato a un certo punto di non usare il sacro, di non coreografare un sacro, ma c'era qualcosa di necessario in questa musica. Alla fine si è sottomesso ed è diventato sacra. Voleva resistere anche al titolo, trovare un altro titolo, il concerto, ma no, era quello e ha accettato anche quello. Io ho ancora una domanda, perché ho detto prima è artista in senso completo e poi ovviamente c'è possibilità di interrogarlo. Lui ha fatto una cosa molto importante che è documentata in questo volume a più voci, retrospective, che si trova qui al bookshop, ed è come un'esposizione, come una personale, così volevo chiedergli come l'ha costruito. It was a kind of retrospective, it was a kind of exhibition, of a personal compilation, or how did you manage the construction of your retrospective?
So yeah, retrospective is an exhibition, and I used to say that I use retrospective as a mode of producing something, but the exhibition is not a retrospective of my works, in the sense that one could imagine. Yeah, like we spoke now about 3 or 4 pieces, and then we would show these pieces. So that's not what the exhibition is about. But it uses the material of my works. So you want to translate this? Because this is going to be a bit long, if I want to.
Dice che retrospettiva però non è da intendersi, è una mostra, ma non è da intendersi come una personale retrospettiva nel senso di riprendere i suoi lavori, è invece una ripresa di materiali.
Yeah, so retrospective is addressing the format of exhibition, so it's something known as a form, but it also is used literally as what it means, which is to look backward, to look in retrospect in the back.
Dice, naturalmente rimanda a una forma conosciuta, quella della exhibition, dell'esposizione, ma in realtà retrospective vuol dire guardare indietro.
And this work is the response to the invitation from Laurence Rassel, who was directing at that time La Fundación Tapies in Barcelona, which is an art institution which, as the title says, shows the work from Antoni Tapies, but is also an art institution showing temporary exhibitions. And Laurence had invited me to make an exhibition in this space.
Questo è nato dal direttore all'epoca della Fondazione Tapies di Barcellona, dove ovviamente ci sono le opere dell'artista Tapies, ma ci sono anche mostre temporanee, e quindi è stato invitato per montare una mostra temporanea.
Um, the invitation was also a carte blanche, like I could do what I want, as long as it would be in the form of an exhibition, meaning open for 6 days a week, 7 hours a day for at minimum for 8 weeks. So what I thought about, and that comes very much in discussion also with Laurence, who had invited me for a certain reason. She knew my work, but she was also very curious in making something in this museum where the idea of process would be at work, and where she wanted to question and find ways of addressing the visitors that would challenge the relationship between them and the work of art. So this is very much in the basis of our decision, and was very important in the making of the answer to her question.
Io prima ho detto il direttore, in realtà è una direttrice, Laurence, nome femminile, conosceva il suo lavoro, aveva un'idea però di un processo, voleva trovare il modo di sfidare la relazione pubblico e opera d'arte. Quindi alla base delle scelte che sono state fatte c'era questo tema della relazione tra il pubblico e l'opera d'arte.
So one of the main thing I have been working on for that was to look at the specificities of what work presented in a theater do, and what work shown in an exhibition space do, and what kind of relationship between the art and the public these two situations offer. And so if you observed the way a public is invited to experience art in the theater, you notice probably that you need to come at a certain time, so there is an appointment. You are expected to come at 7 or at 8. If the piece starts at 7 and you come at 7:30, you might be able to come in, but you will not make the experience that is constructed for you, which is a duration. So this is one of the specificity. You have to come at a certain time. You will be also sitting in a certain place, and in most of the case you would not be able to change the space. All what I say now, there are exceptions of course to this, but the generic rules. So you come at a certain time, you will choose a space, but then not be able to move. And then the time of your experience is organized by the work. So you will not choose this, neither your time nor your space. But there is one specificity in this situation, which is something also that I like very much from theater, is that you need to be several people, and you need to construct a group that you could call a community, to make this experience together with actors, performers that are on stage. And if we look at this last condition and you imagine how it goes in an exhibition space are addressed to individuals. Of course, you can go there with your friend, you can go there with your family, you can go there with a group, and you will not necessarily be alone. But the work will still be there if you are alone. If you're going to the theater and you're the only spectator, well, I know this. I like to say this anecdote that I experienced when I was part of a group performing in Berlin. We were, I think, 7 on stage, and then one evening there was only 3 spectators, and the theater say, we will not do the performance, because one of the rules of the theater, I don't know if it's a general rule, but is that we need to have more spectators than people on stage, whatever this mean. I thought this anecdote is interesting to understand the conditions actually. So to continue with this little analysis about the condition of the situation of exhibition space, it is more a space that is done for the individuals. You don't need to be many. But it's also a space where the visitor choose the time and the space. You can go whenever you want, when it's open, of course, but you can stay as long as you want. You can stay 10 seconds or the 6 or 8 hours of the opening of the museum, and you will probably have to move from one room to the other. So basically what I did, how the work was done, how retrospective was done, was very much to look at the specificity of these two situations, and by making the decision to do an exhibition that will be done with people, because I was not going to start to make picture or put video works or make sculpture or any things that actually can be placed in an exhibition space, but I wanted to continue to work with my practice, which is to work with actions of and sayings of peoples and with people together. How this two set of conditions can eventually coexist and do something that would be at the same time using the role of the exhibition space, which is, in a way, from my perspective, something that I like, as it addresses an individual who is free to choose the time and the space, which is maybe the society that I would wish for every one of us, and in comparison to theater, where okay, you sign a contract, you are not forced to go to the theater, but when you're there, you have to sit there, and the time will be this time. You cannot change it. So in comparison, there is this that I find very attractive. But the problem that comes with the exhibition space is that it's very much in favor of the individual, and therefore in our society that is very close to individualism, or that is in favor of this. And this is what I think theater can work on or transform, or I at least have this necessity. So the work as started by these observations.
Vorrebbe sapere se c'è una visualizzazione della partitura di Stravinsky, che è articolata e complessa, attraverso la danza, e se c'è, di che tipo di relazione c'è tra musica e danza.
The work doesn't start or doesn't want to propose a visualization of the music. It rather want to question the relationships that one has by seeing and hearing, or watching and looking, and how these two things work always together, as long as you have the eyes open. So the choreography uses the gestures and movements that are usually done by a conductor. So they are movement. They have a relationship. They have a link to the music in our culture. I do this, and you expect that the music will start. So there is a code. There is an established relationship. That's not necessarily that you see the music, but it's trigger your expectation. It trigger your sense of how you see and how then you will hear the music. If I do, you already without music, you will expect another sound to this. So the relationship between the movement and the music along the work tries to go back this direction or this direction. Do I hear because I see, or do I see because I hear? Or can I imagine because I hear and see, or I imagine because this movement that I thought means this means actually totally something else now because I am in this situation. So the work is more working with you and your imagination and your association to that are constructed by all the time by like I speak and I do this. Why? I have no idea, because I want you to understand what I say. Or we are always working with these two senses. So that's what I think the work wants to do, is to offer an experience that is make you yourself see and look in a different way. Yeah.
Il lavoro non intende proporre una visualizzazione della musica, ma vuole interrogarsi sulla relazione tra vedere e sentire, tra guardare e udire, e su come lavorano di fatto sempre insieme questi due sensi nostri. E si usano i movimenti abituali di un direttore d'orchestra, e questo fa sì che di fronte a certi movimenti ci sono delle aspettative. Lui ha fatto un esempio, un gesto che rimanda a un attacco musicale, e nel corso del lavoro ci si chiede: vedo perché sento o sento perché vedo? E come immagino? Lui vorrebbe pensa che l'immaginazione del pubblico stia lavorando. In questo stesso momento, mentre parla, gesticola perché vuole farsi capire meglio. E allora il lavoro offre un'esperienza sul vedere e guardare, sentire, udire, su questa interrogazione del nostro modo di percepire e immaginare.
I need a little clarification about retrospective. You talk about how we experience theater and how we experience art, and you wanted to have a double experience of these two dimensions, if I understood. Is that correct? What I did not understand was the concept of individualism. I didn't get the main point, I think. The art experience is individual, and the theater experience is community, through a community. What would you prefer, to transfer individualism into theater, or the reverse, or I don't know, I didn't understand.
Yeah, in my ideal world, we have free individual that can live in community without having to exclude the other. That's maybe what I wish. But to be more precise about what I mean with it's inherent to the exhibition space that you go there as individual. You don't need to be many. So therefore, this situation is in favor of the individual, where I think the theater is in favor of the community. If it happens or not, that's not my. It depends. This all depends of the work. It all depends of the theater. But in general, that's what I mean. Then ideally, my remark is that I like the theater because it cultivates this being together, doing something together, spending this amount of time together doing the same thing, where we have many possibilities to be like the gentleman on your side, who at the same time is in contact with maybe his friend and working for a project for next week at the same time that he is there. So I think theater has this ability of producing that value that I think is necessary for humankind. But at the same time, I recognize that what I wish is that people are free to choose, to go to. So ideally, two together. Yeah. The question is, of course, how? Because usually one excludes the other, or we have to. That's also what I think. We have to think about ways of doing this. And that's where I was interested in the exhibition space as a possibility for, by trying to make these two things coexist, because the spaces, they also come with a certain kind of relationship. The theater, like we are now, you are there, we are here. There is a separation. It is linked to the architecture. When you go in an exhibition space, you can of course reproduce that, but at the start, there are walls and there is a floor, and if you imagine a person, in order to make a front, to make a separate, you have to make it. So possibly you can have other kind of relationship, so between between people. So that's what I'm interested in using this set of conditions somehow that are attached to these two kind of institutions. Is clear? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Allora, la domanda era sul chiarire questi concetti di comunità e di individuo, il teatro più comunitario, l'arte più individuale, come contrastanti. In realtà lui dice l'ideale sarebbero liberi individui in una comunità che non esclude quello che vorrebbe. E si va a una mostra come singoli, il che va a favore dell'individuo, si va a teatro come parte di una comunità, il che va a favore della comunità. Dipende, non è una decisione sua. Idealmente il teatro gli piace perché coltiva il modo per stare insieme, come qui siamo insieme, e anche, dice, l'uomo accanto a Donatella, mia collega Donatella, è qui, è con noi, ma intanto è in contatto con qualcun altro, lavora sui prossimi progetti, quindi io vorrei la comunità e al tempo stesso la libertà. Come farlo? Di solito i due termini si escludono, bisogna trovare i modi. Lo spazio della mostra è stata l'occasione per cercare dei modi, perché in teatro abbiamo una separazione architettonica tra chi fa e chi guarda. Nell'allestimento di una mostra posso immaginare un altro tipo di relazione, frontale o meno, c'è un insieme di condizioni che possono cambiare.
I would like to ask about the project you made for Münster, because it's very related to this idea of individualism and collective experience, and also I think is very connected to the idea of intimacy in a way. So how is this third element of like the festival? So it's not in the white cube, it's not in the black box, but how did you get to this project? And yeah, if you could explain a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Skulpturprojekt Münster is an event that takes place every 10 years in Münster, a small city in north of Germany. And like the title says of this event, it's Skulpturprojekt, so there are projects, sculpture projects, and artists are invited to make a work in the public spaces. So, and public spaces, as the name say, it can be exhibition space or theater, but in the address of the question is public spaces understood as the park, the street, what we understand by public spaces, which is the first question that comes with the proposal to participate. So to develop this work, that I invited Scarlett Yu to develop this work together, and we also then involve other people to do this. When I got this invitation, so the invitation was to do a work in public spaces, but also the invitation came with the desire that I do work with people, with actions. So I also played a little bit with them by saying, oh yeah, I thought about doing something with mirrors and but it was clear that the invitation to me was to do something live, which I also like and understand the proposal, but that comes also with other questions and problems, as the event is 3 months long, and if it's in public spaces, it's 24 hours a day. The sculpture that is in the parks here, or the fountains, they don't go sleep in the night. They are there. So if we follow this proposal and do something with people, that means we have to find a way to do this overnight and over the days for 100 days. So that comes immediately with other conditions, imagining even if it's only one person doing something at a certain place, we could imagine like relay, they replace each other, etc. But in any case, the budget to do this was not enough originally in what they proposed, which is maybe another set of problems that we could discuss. But how to? So the question was how to make something that would be in the public space, but that will use the specificity of the public space, and not be something that could be done like in exhibition space or could be done in the theater, meaning not something that where we would need to invite people at a certain time to make the experience of the work, which would be in short, in my terms, reproducing a theater that we could do here. We say, like we did today, at 4 there is something, you come, takes place, you will finish, and that's it. We could have think about something like this. Or do something that would be more the exhibition format, but would come with the problem of how do we do this, how we pay the people, etc. So there was all this question. And the proposal was to think about something that could be done by many people and could be done at any place, anytime, anywhere. So instead of looking for a solution in one place at one time or at one place at any time, we reverse the observation by saying if potentially it can be everywhere in the city, done by everyone, anyone, and at any time, then this work could be present and also define what the public space is when the person does it. So that's how we started to develop a work that would be passed to people who want to do it. So it was not done by a performer that we would pay, but it was only a proposal to share some ideas to others, and people would do them or not. And what we do with the people is we invite them if they want to come to a workshop, and then we have two different workshops. One which is called Embody Your Sculpture, first workshop, and the second workshop was Make It Public. So literally what we do during the first workshop, and this is done together with a team of 7 colleagues who have worked with us. Always 4 of us lead this workshop, where we discuss and we work with the people to make them embody a sculpture that they choose, which is resolved in a certain form that they can take. We also during this workshop develop discussion around the question of time, the coexistence of time, and the notion of, is there something like your time, the time of other? And this is developed around the question which we address, which is, how is your time today? Which is a weird question. It's not wrong grammatically, but if I say, how is your time, you would say, like, what do you mean, how I feel, or no, your time, with the presupposition that there is something like your time. Your time is not the same as my time, and that's what we want to refer to and discuss. So that's what we do in the first workshop with each one once, and people want to come back to the second workshop, we develop with them and we share with them a frame that makes it possible for them to address this to anyone they want. In the street, at their home, to their friend, to people they don't know. And theoretically, this can happen everywhere, anywhere, at any time. So the work through all this workshop with all these people was produced and developed and continue to develop. And one of the aspects is that it still can take place. Maybe some one of you were there, or no, I don't recognize any, but some people might be, and you could do your, what we call at the end, your sculpture here. So every time a person decides to do it, this person also define what this space, how this space become public. So there is not, so to say, public space in general, which is a notion that is very complex in our time. Is a shopping mall public space? Well, actually not, but also yes. So that's what we want to, and that's how the work try to think. If I understood well your question, this question of the public spaces and the fact that it's not a theater, it's not an exhibition space, but it's a certain time in the city.
Allora, questo lavoro che lui ha fatto è un progetto della città di Münster, che è una piccola città, dove la domanda comportava appunto vari concetti in gioco: individuo, collettività, intimità, black box del teatro, white cube del museo. E la scelta che è stata, quando ha ricevuto l'invito, l'invito riguardava un lavoro in spazi pubblici. Noi per spazi pubblici intendiamo piazze, strade, non teatro e museo. E quindi lui ha deciso di lavorare su una soluzione live con delle persone che partecipassero al progetto. Ha iniziato con l'idea di specchi, di azioni, ma subito si è posta un'altra problematica, trattandosi di una durata di 3 mesi, 24 ore al giorno, e le opere stanno lì. Normalmente una scultura, una fontana sta lì 24 ore, le persone come passano la notte? C'era un budget, altro tema su cui ragionare, sufficiente per questo? No. Allora come fare qualcosa in uno spazio pubblico, inteso appunto come tale, usandone la specificità? Non un museo, non un teatro, invitare qualcuno a fare qualcosa, interrogare questa azione, come fare intervenire la gente, come pagarla, qualcosa di fattibile, lui dice, in qualunque momento, in qualunque luogo, da chiunque. Quindi il contrario della performance organizzata in una certa ora, in un certo luogo, con qualcuno e con dei performer pagati. Questa è stata una condivisione con la gente, è stato 2 workshop. Il primo, che si chiamava Embody Your Sculpture, incorpora la tua scrittura, con 4 guide che discutevano e lavoravano con le persone e che hanno fatto una scelta. Il tema era coesistenza dei tempi delle persone, il tuo tempo e quello degli altri. C'era una domanda: com'è il tuo tempo oggi, che è diverso dal mio? E poi ci si è rivolti a chi voleva fare questa esperienza, in qualunque luogo, in qualunque momento, chiunque. È un'esperienza che si può sempre fare qui, mettere queste sculture e rendere pubblico questo spazio. Un negozio, un grande magazzino è uno spazio pubblico, interrogarsi su che cos'è lo spazio pubblico e come lo possono determinare persone qualsiasi, in un momento qualsiasi, in uno spazio, in un tempo qualsiasi. Io credo di vedere dei segnali del tipo: dobbiamo andare a provare, e non voglio costringere i tempi, però forse c'è una priorità, la performance di stasera. Possiamo ritenerci soddisfatti? C'è una domandina,
Le risposte possono essere brevi. E sono due, uno riguarda Giselle e uno lo spettacolo che ho visto ieri sera. Per quanto riguarda Giselle, io non ho visto né la versione 30 minuti né la versione poi da un'ora, diciamo così. E del resto non posso chiedere se al pasticcere se i suoi prodotti, i suoi pasticcini sono buoni. Allora la domanda è, non ha avuto dubbi sul riprendere in mano Giselle per ampliarla, e se li aveva, che cosa ha fatto cadere il trattenersi dal prolungare questa Giselle? E invece sullo spettacolo di ieri sera devo ammettere che quello che mi ha attirato erano i gesti delle ragazze, ma sotto il punto di vista del direttore d'orchestra, cioè attiravano l'attenzione per gli occhi, per i gesti, per la bocca, per il movimento, più che per la danza. Mentre alla fine, quando sono venute tutte e tre, lì è saltato fuori la danza, anche perché ci siamo trovati di fronte a delle improvvisazioni. La domanda è allora, queste improvvisazioni, cioè saltavano, doveva entrare qualcuno, invece è entrata l'altra, ma stava benissimo. Queste improvvisazioni, questo modo di elaborare, se è stato elaborato, questo intervento a tre finale, così gioioso, a chi si può dare il merito? Alle ballerine o al coreografo?
I translate quickly. He didn't see the Giselle, nor the short version, nor the long version, but he has a doubt. What made you decide to use the garbage? At that moment, you didn't have any block about this. And the second question is about the sack. So first, it seems that the girls were doing gestures, but the real dance came at the end when all of three are on stage, so joyful, improvising. And who is the author of the improvisation? Who has the responsibility, the choreographer or the performance?
When we work together, the responsibility is everyone has responsibility. That would be the answer for
Per il SAC hanno condiviso le scelte e le responsabilità.
How we distribute these responsibilities are, for me, different ways of producing the movement and the situation.
La responsabilità si riferisce ai diversi modi di produrre il movimento e alla situazione.
And that's the interest in this situation. Who? That's, for me, that's not a question. Because if we look for who, we don't see and we don't experience what the situation does. We look for the author. What is interesting for me is what it does.
Dice, se cerchiamo di chi è il merito, non si fa un'esperienza, si cerca qualcosa che il merito, l'autoralità, non è un problema di autore.
But I could answer by saying who is responsible, and the responsible there is the negotiation between all the parties.
Sì, la responsabilità è l'atto della negoziazione tra le parti in causa.
And for about the Giselle, I'm not sure I understood the question about
Why you didn't hesitate to make a second part using the garbage. You didn't hesitate, you decided to do it. Why?
Yes, as I said, it was a way to share with the public some of the process of the work, and this is something I have for me is always interesting to look at works also through a certain process produce certain work. When I see some works, I have sometimes more the feeling I'm more in contact with how the people work more than what they do. It's very difficult to explain, but there is something in the experience of performance that is there, and this gesture was, as I say, was done to answer to this constraint of time, of these norms that are given, that a performance work should be 50 minutes or 60 minutes in order to be an evening. If it's 30, it's not valid but I think it could. So showing the what we call the garbage or material that are totally valid, that they are totally, but they cannot fit the work. It doesn't mean that these materials that we have worked on, that we have produced, they don't have a value in themselves. So this gesture was to answer to this or comment on this relationship to a work should be a certain duration to be a work, and also it's a way of sharing the process in a certain way. We have been through all these things that normally you would not see, which is what you always experience in many of the performing arts work. There is a selection that are done by the people working together. They rehearse, and then they think like this not. We keep this. This is what we think is good, but maybe what they think is good is not what you think is good, and that was for me also a way of saying like, maybe, and that's actually what sometimes happen with some of the spectators who prefer the second part. They say, there in the second part, this was really interesting, and that was the first part, which is also somewhat a reflection that this gesture propose. Also, it's one make decisions for a certain aim, and
Allora, dice che questa scelta di dar vita alla seconda parte per un verso era un modo di condividere con il pubblico un po' del processo di lavoro. Certi processi producono certi lavori, a volte lui si sente più connesso al come funziona una produzione che al che cosa è una produzione. E questa scelta è stata anche per rispondere a quegli obblighi di tempo che ha detto prima, quanto dovrebbe durare un pezzo per fare serata. Secondo lui 30 minuti avrebbero anche potuto essere validi, bastare. Ma questa seconda parte di materiali di fatto era buona, ma non funzionava nella prima. Abbiamo fatto vedere che siamo passati attraverso tutto questo, quello che non avete visto, che gli artisti hanno preselezionato, avevano già fatto delle scelte, e non è detto che quel che hanno scelto che è buono per loro lo sia per chiunque. Ci sono degli spettatori che preferiscono la seconda parte e dicono adesso sì che ci interessa.
Thank you.